Very good. So we are going to be talking about three things, President Sabat, today. And those are, to begin with, we are going to be really directing your attention to the median rent and what the median rent growth has been in the city of Glendale, and perhaps how, if time allows, how it compares to Pasadena and Glendale, and these are apartment rents and so forth. Then we are going to be talking about the Ninth Circuit Court decision. If you remember, in 2020, City of Berkeley was the first in the nation that banned gas connections to new properties, and basically the idea was to get rid of fossil fuel and the electrification of new properties and so forth. And City of Glendale followed suit, by the way, right? And another 70 cities went along with it. But there is a decision by this court that all but forecloses on that prospect. The third and the most important thing that we are going to be talking about is the Glendale City Council candidate interviews, and we will give you some times and date, and we encourage you very highly to attend, even though your local government relations and board of directors will be voting on who to support and who not to. And but it's important that as a member for you to see the process on how it's uh, designed and how it proceeds, and with total transparency and what have you. So, with any further ado, let's go to the annual change in median rent in the city of Glendale. The teal blue, the very bottom graph that you see, in 2020, the rents dropped by 7%. If we go to the middle of the screen in 2019, they went up by 2.1%. We're talking about the median rent, meaning 50% of the rents are higher and 50% of the rents are lower. In 2022, and here's my cursor, that's the green line. It went up by 3.5%, right? 2021 was the highest increase in the median rent in the city of Glendale, and that was by approximately about 16%. Why am I sharing this data with this information with you? Very simply, if you were to do the math here, and if there is something like that, if it could be done, and add and subtract every year the rent growth for the past 5 years or 4 years, you will see that the average rental median rent growth in City of Glendale has been 2.8%, certainly less than the inflation rate, at least the inflation rate that we face today or we faced yesterday. Again, I'm sharing this with you because there is always a lot of chatter, a lot of information out there about rent control, and the rents are out of control and what have you. The graphs, and this is a third party vendor, by the way, the graph and the number that is provided by them tells us a different story, a different narrative. And it's important for you to have that, be cognizant of it. So that's about the annual changes in the median rent in the city of Glendale. Let's go on to the Ninth Circuit Court decision on banning the gas. In 2020, as I told you, Berkeley was the first city that adopted it. Later on, I think it was a Southern California coastal city that adopted it, and so on and so forth. About 70 municipalities adopted this REACH code or REACH goal to ban gas connections to new construction, right? New properties, whether it's a home, apartment building, restaurant, and so forth. They were sued, by the way. The city of Berkeley was sued by the Restaurants Association in California, and that lawsuit was appealed to the Ninth Circuit Court. First, a panel of 3 judges heard it and voted it down. In other words, it said that no, Berkeley did not have any constitutional standing to make that change because it infringed on what is known as the appliance, federal law appliance, and so forth, that was instituted in 1975. Then the administration and the conservation groups asked for a rehearing by Ninth Circuit Court by the entire number of the cadre of the judges of the Ninth Circuit Court, which is about 29. On that hearing, only 11 judges showed up. It wasn't enough to rehear the case, and that elimination of the ban stands as we speak, unless somebody wants to appeal it to the United States Supreme Court, and we haven't heard anything of that nature or what have you. So as I told you, City of Glendale also, through its REACH code, adopted the Berkeley ordinance, right? Last night at the city hall meeting, our mayor suggested for the staff to bring back a report so they can beef up the other parts of what is known as the REACH code to be able to make up for the loss or this loss, at least in the minds of conservation groups and environmentalists and so forth. So we'll see what that is and how are they going to make up for this part, and we will keep you abreast. But this is an important decision because it not only would affect California, it could very well affect or have an effect on different cities nationwide. The third and most important thing I want to talk to you about is the Glendale City Council candidate interviews. Those interviews, and all in all, we've had said that, and I've shared this with you, 7 candidates that qualified. They all reached out to me. We reached out to them. We provided them with all the 15 questions that are important for us as realtors and for our clientele and private property rights. And 6 of them returned those questionnaire by the deadline. And it was interesting, 2 or 3 of them did so at about 11:45 at night. But having said that, that's not neither here nor there. And we will be interviewing 6 candidates, including our own Barton Garpetian, a realtor and board member, and your part of your executive team. We will be interviewing them on Friday, this coming Friday. And the interview time starts at 10 a.m. So we will be sending the links for the Zoom for the interview, and Robert can post that in the chat as well. Should you be interested in attending it, which I highly recommend you to do so, you will see how these interviews are conducted. Even if you can only attend 1 or 2 of them, right? It would start at 10 and most probably will end at about 12:30, and then the deliberation starts with your LGLR, Local Government Relations, Legislative Relations Committee, then making a recommendation to your board of directors, and hopefully we'll have the quorum. And by the end of the day, we should know who are those 2 candidates that we are supporting as an organization. The other thing that I want to add is that, again, the meeting will be held, the interviews will be held on Zoom. It's a really quick and very efficient way of doing it. And your president, Sawak Sorabian, and the chair of LGLR, Carmen Arom, your former president of Glendale Association of Realtors, myself and your CEO, we will be moderating this meeting. I will be making the introduction. Sebak and Carmen will ask upon the attendees that they so choose to pose 3 different questions to each candidate, and they may want to expand on stuff and ask, say, for 4th or the 5th question. But generally speaking, the questions would be anywhere between 3 and 5. With that, President Sorabian, that ends my presentation.
Thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate it. I hope that our membership who will be receiving the emails regarding this interview date on Zoom will respond and take part. It's important for us to show number of faces to our candidates for them to see that our association is really involved and cares about the affairs of the city. It will be great to see all of you guys on that call. We would appreciate that very much. I just would like to bring up two other subjects before we move on to the caravan properties and property pitches. One is that if you recall last week, I was reporting on the status of the NAR lawsuit in Kansas that was ruled for the plaintiffs. The process, as I explained last week, included a request by the defendants, in this case, NAR and a couple other defendants, requests by defendants to the court for them to review their decision and requesting them to vacate the decision of the court based on reasonings that the defendants are putting forward. Last night, through an email from NAR, we were notified that that step has been completed. That request has been made. And as anticipated, judges review and decision whether to vacate the ruling of the court and or maintaining it and or changing a part of it. Those are all options that the judge has at his disposal. That decision is expected to come sometime in March. So we'll see how this process is going through that phase of it. And if things do not pan out for NAR and other defendants are actually ready with a very much beefed up legal team ready to file the appeals and so forth. So that's where we are with that lawsuit. The other issue I would like to bring to your attention is just a heads up, guys. We are all human beings. We are all carbon-based material. We all run on emotions, including myself, as well as every one of you guys. And this is an election year coming up. Not only a local election year, but a national election year. And I want to just keep on reminding, as we have done over and over in the past, that regardless of our personal likes and dislikes, regardless of our personal political affiliations this way or the other way, we here represent the Realtor Party of California. So at our gatherings, at our meetings, at our platforms, please be mindful of the fact that the emotions might be heightened, and let's make sure that we would not make comments that might be cause for irritation, correctly or incorrectly. Let's just stay away from that altogether. We would appreciate that very much.